Just remember, look forward.
Mm-hmm. So, look forward or conversate with you back and forth.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour. This is your host, Spicy Gray. We got something very special for you today. Very spicy. So make sure you tune in. Tell you right now, we're going to talk about child abuse today. I know y'all been watching the post and everything and knowing what's going on. I know some of y'all hit me up, wanted to be a part of this. So I'll let you know right now, the lines are open. That number is 512-668-2814. So you can call in, voice your opinion, tell your story. We are here to listen to you as well. Now, as y'all know, 1 in 7 children every day is abused in America. But is CPS truly doing something about it? Are they truly failures? Or are they rescuers? We'll find out during this discussion hour, so you stay tuned. As you will see in just a minute, we're going to pay a memory of baby Brianna, which I'm gonna tell you right now, it was not a case against CPS with her. It was a case with that she was abused by her family. So we're going to show something right now. Well, right now we're not going to show Brianna. We're going to go ahead and show Child Protective Services. This was pertaining to someone here in San Antonio, Texas. Adrian, please forgive me if I mess up your name, but you will see something right here. What is this now? He did not upload the Brianna.
Let me come on the resident.
Just 1 second. Let me see if I don't think I can upload it right now. I'm gonna have to do it during the show so I can put this up. Hopefully it'll get on there. There's no sound on here. Oh, it's right there. I don't want to get away from your camera. Send the file. Okay, we was trying to see if we can load the Brianna video, but right now we cannot. So and what you seen just a while ago was a CPS case where the grandmother was trying to protect her children. It was a false allegation. Asked her if she would be willing to come on and tell us a little bit about that video. She will come on later if she's able to. So we're just waiting on her to see what's going to go on. But right now, what we're going to do is go ahead and bring in our guest, which is Miss Tamara Cherie. She is a Caribbean in style. She is from New York City. We bring her here from San Antonio, Texas, residing right now. Miss Tamara Cherie.
Hey girl. Hello everyone.
I done messed up your whole living style, didn't I?
It's okay, it's okay. You know, most people when they hear New York, they say New York City. But I'm originally from upstate New York, Rochester, New York.
Okay. That's nice. That's nice.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about you. And, you from Rochester. You moved here to San Antonio, Texas. And you, it's just not just you, but you also have family here as well.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm originally from Rochester, New York. We actually have been a lot into the press lately of the Daniel Cruz situation, the guy that had the spit bag over him over this past winter.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know about upstate New York, and they think upstate New York is more country, more of like cows and chickens, but it's actually very rural. It's baby New York City as far as Rochester, New York. We are one of the highest rated right now as far as murder rates for the year, competing with Detroit and Chicago, which and nowadays we this is more than ever that we need to start to learn how to stick together and fight for one another. It's a lot of different situations out here nowadays that people just want to sweep underneath the rug, or the latest video, I'm trying to be the next Pop Smoke, or I'm trying to be the next Sweaty. It's more to us than just what they put in the commercials.
Right.
And we need to start coming back to us, and one of the biggest things that I feel that a lot of people aren't talking about nowadays is the child abuse with children.
True, because you hear a lot about domestic violence and what's going on with the police force, and also, also George Floyd with, the murder of him by a cop, and the pandemic going on and everything. And we talked about in October, Domestic Violence Month was about domestic violence and how the pandemic is causing that rise. But what is not being heard right now is that it's also a rise in child abuse.
Yes, it is, because a lot of schools are going more virtual, and we're gonna have to understand that number one, these face masks is gonna be almost an everyday thing again.
Yeah.
Okay. And now working from home, children being at home is going to be the new day age.
Right.
But some of us have not taken the chance to spend time with our children.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? People send their kids to school as daycare or like a babysitter. And then when they come home, they have these pamphlets that they have to do. And then you're wondering why your teacher is saying that your child is missing these assignments because you're not sitting here taking the time to teach them these things.
And I agree with you on that, because I also have a son and he's with his dad. And what I have a problem with is because, he's there at home alone. He's 15. He's at work. His girlfriend also is at work. But my son has to text me, Mom, do you know anything about algebra? My thing is that I feel there should be supervision there when you're talking about their education. He shouldn't just be left alone in the room, because then I feel the rate is going to even rise even higher. But before we get into your story, you're also, we want to let everybody know a little bit about you. So you also, I heard, as a beast at the hair.
Well, I don't say I'm a beast, but I'm good at what I do. Yes, I mean, a lot of people, especially from upstate New York and also San Antonio area, I've ran one of the biggest beauty supply stores here. So most people, I know a lot of people are probably up on your life. Hey, that's the girl from the wig section. Yeah, I'm the girl from the wig section.
Yes.
Can't you tell with the orange and blonde today? I'm a orange sherbet today.
I like that name. That's cool.
Trying to lighten up the mood for such a heavy topic we're about to get ready to discuss.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And it it's something that you have to take to heart, because when you think about the children, you think about they can't defend themselves.
Right.
That's one.
Right.
So, who do they have to protect them? Because, as with the video that I tried to upload um, baby Brianna
Mhm.
in 2002. She passed away at 5 months old.
Mhm.
Now the story behind Brianna, it was from Mexico, is that from day one that she came home from the hospital from being born, she had been abused,
Mhm.
and from being pinched, being bit, being tossed up in the air and dropped to the floor. And we're talking about a newborn baby infant. You know what I'm saying? And then to turn around and the grandmother, even though, and I'm trying not to get too emotional, because when I first heard this story years back, I was screaming and crying because I take it very much to heart.
Mhm.
But the grandmother, which I don't understand why she didn't get years' time, witnessed all this, seen this baby getting abused, seen these bruises. But the most crucial thing about this was baby Brianna. She was raped annually and also vaginally, and by her uncle and her own dad. The mother bit her. You see the bite marks all over her. When they decided to take the baby to the hospital, it's the day she was non-responsive. She was 5 months old. Getting to the hospital, when they did the autopsy and everything, to find out this baby had old bruises and new. And we're talking about a 5 month old. What is so much that she could do that she deserved this
At 5 months.
at 5 months old? So when they did the autopsy and they did arrest the mother, the dad, and the uncle, the mother was, this is 2002, she was released in 2002. I don't feel like as a mother she should be released. The dad and the uncle, they got 18 years, I think it was. The grandmother only received 30 days for just witnessing and not doing anything about it. Now, as far as I know there's a law when you don't render aid,
Mhm.
but you're a grandmother and you're seeing this defenseless child with bruises and crying and hurting.
Right.
Now, the sad thing about it, because I know you wanted to take time to look at the video as well,
Mhm.
but the sad thing about it was that when the cops went to this home where baby Brianna lived, she, oh my goodness, there was no sight of any toys, baby toys or anything. And as I have warned the viewers, um, please be advised that this is something that you should be aware of, that, to remove the children and all. But this baby didn't have not one toy. Because, like when we pregnant, we buy all these baby toys, rattles, and
Mhm.
not one. Now, the community came together to bury this child because the family wouldn't. They buried this child.
But you know the saying, it takes a village.
It took a whole village to bury this child and to love on her when she didn't even have love in life. But they was going as a community putting toys on the grave.
Mhm.
Now the detective in this case and the chief, if you look it up, they took this very seriously. It affected them to where the police department was crying in tears, seriously. They hang her picture to this day. He said he didn't know what the baby looked like without bruises. And he wondered. So when he snapped her picture, he had the bruises removed. And he said because it looked like she was just sleeping. And this is what was viewed of baby Brianna. And it's sad to know that this is the first time that the community, the police department, has seen this baby without any bite marks, bruises, scratches, anything. And it's really sad that she had to endure this.
Right.
No enjoyment in life. Now, she wasn't loved in the family during life, but they didn't even want her loved in death.
Right.
They placed a gate around her grave to prevent the community from loving on her. And to this day, the graveyard has things that is old and weeds and trash, but that didn't stop the community because they still come by. And they even put a marker outside of her gate. Like, she was abused while she was living. So now you put her in a cage?
And afterlife.
And the only thing you could say as the family, the grandmother, I just want the community and everyone to leave Brianna and us alone. So what? Just like she did?
Right.
Turn the head?
Right.
So, it's very hurtful to see this go on. And what we're going to do, we're going to be coming back with your story that you have to tell.
Yeah,
and your
because
experience with
I'm that
CPS.
village. I am that village.
Yes,
And I'm that family member.
At this moment, what we are going to do, we're going to get on these mothers.
Yeah.
Mama.
Mothers.
Because my thing is, to be a mother, that's a title earned, not a title that you just receive because you give birth. But this is on Malia Davis in the CPS case.
It's been more than a week since 4-year-old Malia Davis disappeared. Crews expanded their search today while the girl's stepfather sits in jail.
Today we learned new details about investigations by Child Protective Services, including allegations by both Malia's mother and biological father. Channel 2's Sophia Ojeda is live with what is in those documents. Sophia?
Bill and Lauren, CPS documents obtained by Channel 2 show that CPS history that involved little Malia Davis dates back to last summer. And we are asking the question on lots of folks' minds tonight. Why was Malia allowed to go back home to a home these court papers call abusive? Malia Davis is a happy child who loves to watch cartoons, play with siblings, and have her hair done. This is how the courts described little Malia Davis on April 10th, 2019, 8 months after the report of child abuse in her home. According to court documents, on August 13th, 2018, Malia was physically abused, but investigators could not identify who was responsible. In that same report, CPS investigators allege Malia was neglected by her mother, Brittany Bowens. In September of 2018, a judge ordered Malia Davis be placed with a court sitter or supervisor. Malia's parents could see her in the hospital, but the documents don't state why Malia was in the hospital. But we do know she did undergo brain surgery stemming from a head injury. Fast forward to February 2019, after Malia's mother and father completed parenting classes, court records show Malia was returned to her mother, Brittany Bowens. 3 months later, Malia is now missing. Blood evidence collected from her home, her stepfather accused of tampering with evidence. Now, we reached out to Quan LX, who is representing Malia's mother. He told us, quote, "It is extremely obvious that CPS failed Malia. It is obvious that Malia was abused in the home. It is shameful that CPS didn't do a better job at protecting Malia. Had CPS held Malia in their custody, perhaps Malia would still be here today." I called Child Protective Services to get some more insight into this case. A representative told me over the phone that she could not comment. One thing to note, in these court documents, doctors could not tell whether those injuries that Malia suffered actually came from child abuse. We've posted a link to those documents on our website, clicktohouston.com, if you want to check those out. Reporting live downtown, Sophia Ojeda, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Okay, as y'all seen there, that was on Malia Davis that went all over the world. I want to say hello, Gigi. Thank you for tuning in. Andrea, please call in and tell your story. I do want you to describe that video that we had seen earlier of your situation. So if you would, please call in at 512-668-2814. Matter of fact, let me get this banner going because that way y'all can see the number. Y'all can call in. Y'all gotta bear with me because just like I told y'all, for a week we're not gonna be on. We're doing some changes to the broadcast, so we really got a blessing. So I'm excited. I got them working out because my knee and everything been bothering me. Couldn't be able to stand up or anything. but make sure you share this video. We are speaking on CPS and the child abuse. Hello, Cedric Sterry. Thank you for tuning in. Andrea, do call in at 512-668-2814. Tiffany Moulton, thank you for tuning in. Jesse Givens, Thomas Arias, thank you for tuning in. Jess Estrada, thank y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Right now, we got a phone call coming in. Hello, this is Unspoken Heart.
Hi, this is Andrea.
Hi, Andrea, how we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Fine. Now, we watched your video earlier, which didn't have any sound to it, with you and your daughter and dealing with the cops and CPS. Can you share with everyone what was going on in that video?
I can. Let me see this about. So apparently they made a allegation that my grandbaby had what they called a I'm trying to start from the beginning because they came up with so many different allegations.
Mm-hmm.
So originally they showed up at the house. My daughter lives with my mom, and they said that they got an anonymous phone call that there was 3 allegations. One of the allegations was that my grandbaby's hands were so dirty that they could barely wash them.
Mm-hmm.
They went to us, who is safe? The second allegation was there was no running water in the house, and then the next allegation was the grandmother can barely walk and can't take care of the child. I'm the grandmother. So I was like, okay, so what's going on? Like, and they was like, oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. And then I said, well, who doesn't have water? Because I pay the bills at both houses. And I sent them 12 months of the water bills. The water bills never been turned off since I lived in that house when I was a kid.
Right.
So it was just made up stuff. So they keep the cases open.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept it open for 3 weeks. And then they came back and said, oh, we were getting ready to close the case today, but we got another anonymous call. So what is it this time? Well, then they said my grandbaby said she got hit in the eye with a belt buckle. And her mom did it. And we were like, what? So they brought me the kid. So when they came in the house, it was the CPS caseworker and an investigator. So my grandbaby comes in, my daughter comes in, and they sit down. And the first thing I did was, Jasmine, come here. And she came. First thing you want to do is look at the eye. I don't see any marks. I don't see any bruises. So I just said, oh my God, what happened to your eye? And she said, oh, Jaden hit me in the eye with a pencil at school. And I said, well, did you tell the teacher? And she said, yes, she put him in timeout. So when I looked at CPS, they said, well, we're not worried about what she's saying. I said, no, this is where you get your stories from. So apparently they were coming up with their own stories, not thinking I was going to come straight out and ask the child. And then they came up with another allegation. She showed me a phone and said, well, what about this? And it's a picture of a child with a red arm, like somebody held her arm too tight. But there's no face. But the child on the phone has on a white shirt. My grandbaby has on a blue shirt. So if you just took this picture, whose child is this? So I said, I'm not going to say anything because I'm kind of confused.
Mm-hmm.
So I started asking questions. We went to the school and found out that my grandbaby doesn't even want to go to the after-school program. She's trying to run home after school. So come to find out, the after-school lady was grabbing her and dragging her to the cafeteria, and she didn't want to go. And then she made the arm red and blamed it on the mom. So when I found the information out, I called them and said, hey, I think I need to go to the school. We found out some information. They didn't want that. The next day, they showed up at my house, and when I got to the door, I see the police. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, what's going on? And they asked for my daughter. So I told my daughter to come to the door. I said, something's not right. They can arrest my daughter. So we had the kids. So my So that messed her up because they were supposed to come in the house. They didn't want witnesses. So I stepped outside, and the caseworker was trembling. If you look at the video, she's so scared.
Right.
And she said, I just came from a judge, and the judge said that what y'all did is abuse. I said, well, who did is abuse? And she just like telling my daughter, we just took we're taking your parental rights away. And I'm like, well, can I see what the judge said? And before I could say anything, she looked at me and said, well, you also just lost your grandparent rights. And I said, wait a minute. I said, okay, let me see the paperwork. And they wouldn't show us any paperwork. And she just said, we're taking the kids right now. And I went, oh my God, think great. Wait, this ain't right. So as I'm looking, if you look in the video, there were 4 policemen in combat ready position with their hands on their guns. And I'm terrified because I'm like, why are they getting like they're going to shoot us?
Mm-hmm.
And there was another cop hiding on the side of the house. They didn't even have on badges and name tags. There was one policeman that had on a badge and a name tag. And that's why I'm going like, this ain't real, like uniform. Black County Sheriff wear black uniform.
Mm-hmm.
These are tan uniforms. This is not even standard uniform. So my daughter turns to go into the house. So the female cop grabs my daughter, pulls her away from the door. You can see my daughter's hand still reaching for the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking like they're gonna throw it to the ground. I got these big rocks in my yard. So I'm running for my daughter. They threw it to the ground just like they did Mr. Floyd. And 2 cops jumped on her back. Now mind you, she just had a baby 5 months ago.
Oh,
And she's looking at me like scared, like what's going on? And then I see the caseworkers walk into my house. I still ain't see a warrant, no paperwork, no court document. So I run for the door. And she comes out the house. You can see the other lady tells her to get out the house. That's sign number 1 that you weren't supposed to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
So when I run, I grab my grandbaby from her because I'm like, okay, this is a kidnapping. So my mom is like, sit on the ground. Because then they're going to have to try to pull both of us. I'm like, we're trying to come over. I don't know. I can't see. And I'm scared. And I kept saying, who are you? You don't have a name tag on. You don't have a badge on. Who are you? And she just kept saying, get up and get in the house. Get up and get in the house. And I'm going, this gotta be illegal. So I said, okay, just stand in the door. That way they can't just come in your house. The policeman is pushing me backwards into my door. And by this time, I'm ready to buckle because I'm thinking they're going to kill us. So my grandbaby's screaming and crying, and I don't know what to do. It's like 4 cops, 2 unidentified people, and they done handcuffed my daughter and took her to a car somewhere. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And mind you, they never saw my surveillance camera. They never saw. That's what saved her.
So they didn't even know they was being recorded.
They did not know they were being recorded.
Good thing.
They knew the camera doorbell didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't see the 24-hour surveillance camera that I had over my door.
Okay.
So they went to court. You're not allowed to speak when you go to court. So CBS got to say their whole story. My mouth is falling up because I'm like, why did y'all take the kids from me? I don't have a criminal background. I have a 3-bedroom house. I'm a government worker with a secret clearance. Why did y'all take the grandbaby? Never thanked them. What? No one would answer my questions because they wanted to go after my daughter because they want the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, this is what I'm told. There's a high demand for light-skinned kids. So they find a way to get the kids from the parents. They make sure that you lose your parental rights, and then they adopt your child out to somebody that wants one.
It's crazy.
And this is going on, like, I'm telling you, when I made the news, I had parents calling me left and right, thinking that I'm a saving angel that can help them.
Wow.
The only thing that helped us is I had cameras, and that's because I have PTSD.
So other than that, if it wasn't for the cameras, you would have lost your grandchildren.
We would have lost our grandbabies.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, I just got chills. So, long story short, I really do appreciate you calling in. I really appreciate the video as well. What was the outcome from this here with CPS in the court system with your grandchildren?
One thing people need to know is your district senator is here and supposed to help you with situations like this. So, being a veteran, I contacted every senator that I could find at the state capitol. I sent them the video. I was nonstop. I was a parent that was not going to lose a grandkid. I actually got the caseworker fired. The caseworkers and the supervisors got fired. The Bear County Sheriff refuses to even call and talk to me about the situation. I've had people show him the video. They keep saying those are not my officers. I showed it to a judge. The judge said, whose police are those? So that means if they're not your Bear County Sheriff officer, who is those are people impersonating police? Shouldn't we be investigating?
Right.
That should have been
It
investigated.
definitely should have been investigated.
Wow.
After 2 years, because of the George Floyd protest, they started bringing me up in front of the Sheriff Salazar. And Senator Van finally called me last year. After 2 years of me trying to get them to do something about those officers or fake officers in my yard.
Now, this happened in what year?
2019.
2019. And after 2 years, that's when they came and
I
contacted you.
finally got a call. Yep. And they took my information and I was telling them what happened and they have not called me back then. So it was just something just to try to say, well, we can tell the protesters that we're investigating. They haven't called me back since I gave my statement.
Have you reached out to seek legal, you or your daughter?
The lawyers here, they don't want to, unless we got killed by the police, they're not interested.
That's what
We
it's been
only had
being.
a fear of almost getting killed, so we're not important.
Okay, my thing is, it is important because when you take, it ain't just about this grandmother and this mother that y'all seen in this video, but these children were traumatized by this. And
They're traumatized.
honestly speaking, I followed her story back and forth as she was going through, and to see these children and crying, they did not want to leave their grandmother. They didn't want to leave at all. But for them to take them through this, something should have been done. I feel like something should have been awarded because now these. Did you ever have to put the children in counseling?
You know, once we got them back, it was more like we was holding them too close to even want to do anything. We just tried to show her that the love was always there. We fought for you. We got you back. And do you know that she was abused by the foster parents?
Oh,
They
so
put her in foster care for 2 weeks.
and they know this.
Yes.
So what is CPS doing about that?
Nothing. This is what they did. My grandbaby said they were locked in a room together. At least they were together. She was with a 5-month-old sister. But she said that the foster parent was hitting her on the arm. And when I told the caseworker, she went to go talk to my grandbaby, and she said, did the foster mom spank you? And my grandbaby said no. And then she come back, well, she said she didn't get a spanking. I said, I didn't tell you she got a spanking. She got hit. Oh, we didn't say it right. But y'all know how to say it right when y'all want to take the kid from the parent.
Exactly. Exactly. Now,
And spankings are legal, but they would take your child for a spanking too.
yeah, but see, I remember I owned a home licensed child care, and a child was not to be spanked until they was 5 years old. But even at that, I think if I can remember, because it's been a long time, I'm old, but I think it was either just a couple of spots on the butt or a tap on the hand. It was not to be hit or anything like that. And how old is your granddaughter?
But now she's 8.
Okay. And
At
how,
that time, she was 5.
she was 5. So with a 5-year-old, in my expertise, what I know is that a child that gives those type of descriptions that say certain things, they're not just making it up. It's something that actually happened to them. So, did she suffer any nightmares from this happening? You know, the whole trauma of everything.
Yes, and she won't sleep by herself. They have their own room here at home and at their home, and there are places, but she is the 5-month-old really didn't know what was going on. But the 5-year-old, even now, like when she comes over, she has to sleep in the bed with me. She won't sleep in the room by herself.
Mm.
Which is the room that they piled in the room with us to try to make me get clothes. So she remembers all this that happened at my house. This is supposed to be her safe zone.
Right.
Yes.
I'm like Big Mama. So even the lawyer said the reason that they wanted to get the kids away from me is because my voice was too strong and they didn't want to deal with me. Because I was the one asking questions.
Yes.
Like, let's get to the bottom of this, because if my daughter did something, of course, I'm going to get in her ass.
Mm.
If she didn't, we need to find out who's doing it. And I found out who was doing it. And do you know that she got fired from Thornville Elementary School? That school teacher?
Mm.
Because I asked to see the video in the hallway. I want to see how y'all stopped the 5-year-old trying to run home.
Mm.
They won't let me see the video, but she's gone.
Well, that's indication that they're hiding something. And I know it's true about how they don't like dealing with people that has very authoritative voice, because I've even dealt with CPS myself, because, I have a vindictive sister, I'm not going to lie. But they do not like talking to a person. And I mean, this is just the way I talk.
It's emotion, but they
Yes.
classify it as you being boisterous.
Aggressive.
Or whatever.
Mm.
You're supposed to back down, but how are you supposed to be calm when you're passionate and it's somebody that you love, you're trying to protect?
You're going to get a reaction out of a parent, out of a family member, as y'all will see with Miss Cherie today, because we're going to talk about her situation as well. And Andrea, I'm serious. We're praying for you. We already are. I'm glad you got your kids back. And how's your daughter doing?
My daughter's good. She has a lot of anxiety problems. I already had PTSD. It got worse. She has PTSD. Everybody has PTSD now. I've upgraded my camera because that saved me. You just never know. I'm going to get the police department, the sheriff's department.
Mm-hmm.
So they used to follow my daughter on her bumper going down SM78. And it was a scare tactic. When I filed the second complaint by email, they had her arrested.
What?
Retaliation within 48 hours. I filed a complaint on email to do a paper trail. Within 48 hours, they had a warrant and arrested my daughter on bogus charges. And even the judge was so mad, the judge gave the kids back because they had her arrested in his courtroom. He gave the kids back because he didn't want no part of this. So then we still have to fight criminal court. We wanted a jury trial.
Right.
I tell everybody, have a jury trial because all the evidence has to come out on the table. They had the jurors not. They kept offering, we'll give her a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor for what? No, let's go to trial. So we went the day of trial. It's a scare tactic. We held that ground. No, we want the trial. They offered another plea deal. No, thank you. Then next thing you know, the lawyer comes out, pulls us in the hallway and said, case dismissed. How many people you think would have took a misdemeanor? If you didn't do anything wrong, you stand your ground.
Exactly. Don't give up, because that's what they want you to do.
I'm an advocate now. Let everybody know I'm helping because they want the parents, these young ones, black, brown, and poor white, that don't have a voice.
Definitely.
Yes. Well, I thank you so much for calling in, and I pray for the best for you and the whole family. I mean, this has been very helpful for others to know. Do you have any other advice that you want to share at this time, being that you've been through the experience that you have?
Yes, if you have not done anything wrong, stand your ground. Learn your rights. When you know your rights, they don't like it. Even with spankers, I've dealt with parents with spankers. What they do in the schools now, that's how they get rid of your kid. They call CPS on the parent for a spanking. But then they tell the parent that the kid is so bad, and then the parent try to spank the kid to send them to school to be better, and then they call CPS on them. Stand your ground, because Texas Penal Code 9.61 says you're allowed to whoop your child to use force on a child under the age of 17, but not deadly force. So if they need to take that out and stop using that against parents that spank their children.
Exactly, exactly. I feel like they really have abused this system, but you know they do need to reevaluate these caseworkers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these caseworkers. Yes, yes. So we'll be back after these messages. Andrea, thank you so much and so much love. And also congratulations on your coming up wedding. I know you're excited. So we wish you the best. Give those kids a kiss for us and much love. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, we're gonna go to a short break and then we're coming back with the story behind Tamara Cherie and how she's standing her ground against CPS.
For months, they voiced their concerns to Child Protective Services that an infant wasn't being cared for properly. And they say for months, those concerns were ignored. Dylan Collier back now with the short life and death of baby Lily.
The terrible news came Christmas morning around 9 in a FaceTime call from Elisa Dare, a young mother whose infant daughter, Dana, and Dr. Cody Henderson had helped care for in recent months.
She asked for me because Lily wasn't breathing and she was blue.
Emergency medical personnel tried to save 7-month-old Lily, but were unable to revive her. People familiar with the investigation say the child apparently suffocated after her head got stuck between a mattress and a footboard. The Medina County Sheriff's Office refuses to discuss the death until an autopsy is completed, but a source says the case will likely go to a grand jury later this year for possible charges of child endangerment by neglect. We recently visited the home just inside the Medina County line where Lily died. Public records show it belongs to one of Lily's grandparents.
Yes. Hi, I'm Dylan Collier with KSAT 12 Television. Hear about the death of baby Lily?
I have nothing to say. Please get off my property.
Okay.
It remains unclear why Adair and Lily were even there on Christmas. The property, listed as the home address of Lily's father, Earl Wade, on his sex offender registry page. Wade pleaded no contest to felony indecency with a child last October, and while on probation, was told not to have contact with any of his children unless supervised by a court-approved adult. Wade's presence in Lily's life, one of several issues with the baby's care the Hendersons alerted CPS about in the months before she died. First, in calls and text messages from Dana to investigator Monica Montoya, then in calls to the agency's abuse neglect hotline.
Not only ignored, but almost like pushed away.
Officials from the Department of Family and Protective Services refused our request for an interview for this story, but in a written statement said, quote, there is absolutely no evidence that this child's death was in any way the fault of CPS. The babysitter's concerns were thoroughly examined. The case has been taken apart by independent experts in Austin, and the worker was not at fault. However, in a letter to Dana last month, CPS apologized and admitted she was never contacted after tipping off the agency in late November to Lily possibly being neglected.
She'd lost interest, and I told that to Monica in a text message.
And I understand that there's an awful lot of cases, there's an awful lot of people leads to chase down, but if we don't have enough resources, get more resources.
Adair, who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for burglary 2 weeks after Lily died, was unavailable for an interview for this story. Her father, when reached by phone, called Lily's death a terrible accident.
Insanity. Nothing accidental about this whatsoever. Completely predictable. You see the trail of information. There's not a single thing on here that says this was not a completely preventable situation.
For the defenders, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Meet my spicy 585.
Hello, everyone. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. If you have anything to say, please call in 512-668-2814. Okay, we're back. All right. Giving some shout outs on her page.
Yes.
Now we have Felicia Irene. Thank you for tuning in. CC Health. Shauna Nayas. Thank y'all for tuning in. Michelle Miller Shields. CC. Thank you so much. Exactly. Tammy Franks. Thank you for tuning in. Tammy Franks says, keep the kids knowing God. It will guide them. Amen. Amen. Thank y'all so much. And again, if y'all want to voice your opinion, you have anything you want to say, please do not hesitate to call in. I'm actually looking for the number for y'all to sit here and just in case you know somebody that is being abused or needs help, please make sure that you call that number. Now, Miss Cherie,
Yes.
we're going to move on to your story.
Yes.
Because you gave me a call and you contacted me about a nephew. And it doesn't matter who it is, you know, a family member, mother, grandmother, it could be an uncle. If they love their sibling or either their family member, they're going to step up.
Yeah.
And this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your situation?
Okay, so I have a niece and nephew down here in San Antonio. Both my niece and nephew was born down here. My parents originally moved down here from Rochester, New York, like 2009, I do believe ish, or whatever, because of course, most of us, you'll start seeing that a lot of people from New York and Chicago and stuff, we want something better now, you know, and Texas, actually, a lot of people don't know that Texas acts like a country within a country. This is one of the states that you are allowed to exercise your amendment rights.
Right.
And of course, you know, Netflix got a special called Amendments right now. If people have not gotten educated about the 14th Amendment, what we're doing right now, standing our grounds, is part of the 14th Amendment.
Okay.
Okay. Just to give a little background of, like the other lady was saying, you know, as far as being boisterous, in New York State, they teach us how to speak out and speak for what you know and what you believe in. Okay. Rochester, New York is actually a home of Frederick Douglass. And a lot of people don't know this, you know. And once upon a time when, of course, Frederick Douglass being a civil activist and everything like that, the people did not believe that he was a slave at one point. You know, to where he had to take the shirt off of his back.
Right.
You know, so for me to be a black African American, a black descent or whatever, you know, I stand up for mine. Then also another thing is Susan B. Anthony comes from my hometown. So us women, you know, because after the blacks have gotten some type of rights, women still didn't have no rights whatsoever, you know. And it was always what the man said. So Susan B. Anthony stepped out there to actually help us get a voice. So that's another reason why I reached out to you, because as my fellow sister, you know what I mean? You're out here and you're putting a voice to us. You're helping us put a voice out there. For those who don't know much or whatever, you're actually educating us on things that we may not even know which way to go.
Exactly.
You know? And as part of my story, we look at it as, it takes a village to raise these children.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not just one. And unfortunately, the reason why I'm bringing up the stand your grounds with CPS against some of these women is because these mothers are having babies just for the glitz and the glam. You know, oh, I'm having a baby, I'm about to do a gender reveal. Oh, I'm having a baby, I'm having a baby shower. But after the baby comes, there's other things that come with it.
Exactly.
You just brought in a whole nother life here. Okay? They're going to learn different things. You know what I mean? They're going to develop their own personalities.
Right.
Just like that woman said, her granddaughter was 5 years old. 5 years old is during that developmental stage. Those are detrimental years from the age of 5 to 13. That's where they're going to pick up most of their habits. And as they say, by the time from the age of 2 to about 5, what? They're human recorders. You know what I mean?
Just we call them parakeets.
They repeat, they mock, they do everything that we do, you know? So let me share my story of what had happened. Okay. Yes, it's pertaining to my little brother, you know. Of course, with me being an older sister, myself, I have no children. I do have godchildren, and my oldest is 18, and I adopt everybody. Everybody know Tammy love the kids. Tammy don't.
So if you need a break from your kids, just hit Tam up.
Find me. We do school work and everything and play. I still double dutch. I just did a post about double dutch. But at the end of the day, these kids don't ask to be here.
Exactly.
Okay. And one thing with me being, I'm the oldest of nothing but boys, number one. I'm the only girl.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And me, I always put myself as, if I was in this situation, what would I do?
Exactly.
You know? And one thing I would explain to my brothers is, one thing you cannot do to a woman is tell her what to do with her body.
Yeah.
So when you lay down with these women, you got to understand, not only is there a spiritual bonding that happens that a lot of people don't pay attention to these days, okay?
Right.
Because you can't just lay with somebody and be like, oh, okay, that's it. No, you're going to remember that lay down now. Even if you ain't got no feelings, you remembered it.
Or even if they give you fleas.
I'm telling you, you know. So, okay, situations happen. The young lady got pregnant. I am thankful for both my niece and my nephew. And as I said, it takes a village to raise, you know, children. You know what I mean? And that's one reason why I am a godmother, because I have baby mamas. And when I say baby mamas, it's because I'm that godmother that steps in when you need. You know what I mean? Like, you may not always have that psychological thing. I'm mad right now. You know, I can't take it. Well, Tam, can you come get the kids for a second, because I'm just having a mental moment. I'd rather you call me than to abuse your child.
Right.
And sometimes these people don't have outlets. But what about the ones that do have the outlets?
Exactly.
You know, it's not always bad mouthing your baby father. Okay. Now, I have this saying: F you, F him, is about these children. And that's the mindset people need to be paying attention to.
Right.
Okay. So the situation at hand that happened, like I said, kids are human recorders.
Yes.
My nephew was been acting out some behavioral issues. Of course, when the schools get involved, the schools are quick to try to tell you, oh, I think you might need to get him evaluated. He might need medication or something like that.
They quick to medicate.
Exactly. But a lot of time, I mean, true, I acted out in school too. Half the time it was because I was probably bored. Okay. And I feel like the other kids is not moving as fast as I am. So if you want to reevaluate me as far as intellectually, okay, we can do that. But don't try to reevaluate and automatically say it's a attention problem when it's actually, yes, it is an attention problem. The parent may not be paying enough attention to this child.
Exactly. Yeah.
This child might be calling out to this parent and telling this parent different things, and the parent is not paying attention to them. You know? So I am a village to many. My niece and nephew are like my children. I keep them as the screensaver on my phone. Everybody like, them your babies? Yeah, them my babies. Them is my babies. Okay? So my brother and his baby mother had a bad breakup. Okay? People go through breakups all the time.
All of them are not bad, and all of them not good.
Exactly. You know? And it was a blessing for my brother because his son was born on his birthday, which was yesterday, which was both of their birthdays.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday. And the sad part about it is, on the dad side of the family, we have reached out to contact this young lady to even just say happy birthday to my nephew. We have yet to speak to him. So now let me explain to y'all what happened to lead up to this birthday situation as of yesterday. Okay? They broke up. They're no longer together. My brother goes on and he does what he does, or whatever. She goes on and does what she does. Since these children have been born, my parents have gotten these children every second weekend of every month faithfully. That's the time where me as Titi, you know, of course, they're excited to see Titi. Titi, my niece loves hair and makeup, so of course, Titi, can I come in the hair room? Can I do the mannequins? Can I do this? Can I do that? My nephew, hey, Titi, you know them trucks you got me that time before? You know, I seen this other truck, and of course, all kids like PJ Maxx, so he's my little lizard. You know, he's like, no, I'm not a lizard, I'm a gecko. Okay, ain't a gecko a lizard? Yeah, it's a different type of lizard. So we have these communication with these kids, okay? Right. And people have to understand, you don't have to ask no child anything. If they're comfortable around you and they know that type of love that they get from you, they just willingly just want to talk to you because maybe nobody is listening to them at home.
Exactly.
You know, there was an incident where my nephew was in the shower and my father happened to overhear him in the shower and he's acting out somebody being beat. You're not listening. This is why I'm beating you. You hear me? You hear me? But where is he getting it from? Exactly. We only get them every second weekend of every month. So of course, when they're coming around us, we're going on family vacations and things like that. We watching. I'm a Disney girl too. Still, I'm a Princess and the Frog. I'm Princess Tiana herself, and a whole nother thing, just a little more weight. But it's all good, you know. And my babies, they love that. We do drive-in. My parents do drive-in movies. We buy school clothes and things like that. But as soon as the baby mother has problems with my brother, it's taken out on us. Now, yes.
Well, I see not just by that. It's taken out on y'all. She thinks she's hurting just y'all.
But it's more or less hurting the
You're
kids.
hurting your children. But why, as a mother, are you using these children as a weapon? Life is not a weapon.
Right. Love
Whatever
is
her
not
problem
a weapon.
is with the brother, or even if she had a problem with you or your mother, that has nothing to do with the children.
Right.
Their relationship with y'all is totally separate from her relationship with y'all.
Right.
So I totally don't agree with her using him as a tool to try to hurt y'all, but you're hurting these children.
Exactly.
Give me just a minute. Andrea Williams gave some advice. She says if CPS is being corrupted in your case, you can contact your district senator, state representative, or a lawyer who will help the case. CPS lawyers are paid through CPS, so it is a conflict of interest. Yes, that is. Very few will help you the way they are supposed to without dragging the case to collect larger fees. Thank you for that. If CPS focuses on the kids that really need their help and stop coming after parents who are innocent, they would not be so overwhelmed in their job.
Yes.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree.
Definitely.
So, and Tammy Frank says, amen. She and me has the same spirit. She has a humorous heart. Yes, she does. And I see my baby boy Mikey watching. Hey, baby. He's checking on mom. But going on, did you ever have any sort of a friendship with your nephew's mother?
Actually, yes, we did. We actually embraced her into our family.
Okay.
Of course, this was my brother's high school sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
So it was puppy love, definitely. And they was living a lifestyle that it wasn't really quite ready for. You know, they both just got off to college and she had got pregnant and we actually really connected with this young lady. I still do have some love for her because she's damaged.
Right.
You know what I mean? She has went through some childhood pain as well. And I think some of that is reflecting on the situation of the children. It's more of attention though. You know, like I said, she was a one. I really can't really say that she was too bad, except for when it comes down to these kids. Okay. As far as her character, she can be a lovely young lady. But we're going to talk about today's language. She can be very petty too. And sometimes your pettiness can be doing a lot more damage than what you think you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Just like, for example, she got on Facebook and she blasted my mother, put her phone number on Facebook, put both of my parents, their face on Facebook. And all these people are, and I'm no shame to say the name, Courtney Knox is what she goes by. I do Courtney Knox. She has humiliated my family over the past 2 years in regards to this situation.
Right.
She has recently had a new baby, but she thinking that we're taking it out on her.
So she has 3 kids?
She has 3 kids now.
Okay.
And that was after the breakup with her and my brother officially. He decided he did not want to deal with her because she did have another child. His heart was broken. I mean.
Oh, so she had another child by another man.
By another man after he was gone.
So do you see any signs that she still could be in love with your brother?
I think they both still have love for each other, to be honest. Come on, let's be realistic. We all know our high school sweetheart. We all know our first love. We never forget. And sometimes we even replay back in our head, like, maybe if I would have did something this way, maybe it could have been out that way. But unfortunately, life happens.
Right.
Okay? Just because you guys are not together doesn't mean we can't still support you.
Exactly.
Okay? And we extended that support out to her. Yes. Number one, we're not going to pay your bills. Okay? And that's where some of these women get it confused. You feel that, oh, well, you ain't paid child support and this, that, and the third, so I'm not going to let your mother or your sister and them see the kids.
Well, even keeping the child from him is a no.
Exactly. But
in my book, no. Because like I've expressed before, you know, I had a total of 4 children. 2 of them are in heaven now. But, you know, about 3 oldest ones, I never kept them from the dad. No matter how we got along, no matter what he has done, that had nothing to do with my children.
Right.
When they wanted to talk to their dad, I give them a phone, go in another room. If they wanted to see their dad or spend time, I took them and dropped them off. Mm-hmm. I never kept them. But this is where I say, where I have a problem with these type of women, to where you taking it out on everybody now, just to hurt everybody because you feel like that gives you power.
Right. But your situation with him, we don't care about.
Exactly.
Okay, you having a new baby, that's not our concern. Our concern is the 2 that belong to us.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, yes, we will support you by all means necessary when it come down to the kids. Like I said, we ain't gonna pay your bills, but if your lights go out, they got a room over here and at their nanny and papa house. You know. And my mother has embraced this young lady as if it was her own daughter. I ain't gonna lie, I got a little jealous sometimes too.
Being the only girl, y'all can see that.
I got a little jealous. Like, why you doing for her? Well, baby, well, listen, she got my grandbabies. I gotta make sure my grandbabies is good.
Right.
You know? And where it gets so emotional for me is because it should not have, even if my brother did not step up and do what he needed to do, us as a family have a relationship with these children.
Right.
We step up and do what we need to do. Because like I said, it takes a village to raise children. Exactly. I remember once upon a time when I was a child, if I was down the street cussing, my neighbor was able to whoop me and take me home, and I got another whooping from grandma, auntie, mama, and whoever else was down the line. You know what I mean? But it gave me discipline to this day. So yes, I do agree with chastising of a child. But what I don't agree is when you lose control of your chastising.
And we're going to hold that thought right there. We're going to go to a small break, and we're going to show you a video on a guy that stood against CPS when they showed up at his door.
For months, they voiced their concerns to Child Protective.
His dad versus CPS. Well, we got a situation here. I'm going to show you how to handle CPS correctly in the right way. I'm going to show you the process and document everything that's going on and show you exactly how to handle CPS.
Hi, sir.
How's it going? What's your name?
My name's Angela.
Okay. What do you work for?
I'm an investigator for Child Protective Services.
Okay. What are you doing here?
I have currently an open case, and I'm looking for Melissa Escobar.
Okay. Do you have any allegations?
The allegations are neglect of supervision. What's your name?
Are those facts?
Those are allegations, sir.
So they're not facts.
Those are allegations.
So they're not facts.
Like I said, those are allegations. What's your name?
They're not facts, right? Do y'all have a warrant?
Not yet.
Okay. Please don't trespass. Please don't trespass. No, sir. You're trespassing already, sir.
I'm just gonna walk away and talk to you.
Okay. I'm gonna back up because you got a gun. I'm gonna back up.
Do you have any kids here?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any kids here?
Why? Do you like kids?
No, the CPS agent is concerned for them. There's some allegations. She's trying to.
Are those facts?
Them out. There are allegations. There are people saying that.
Are they facts? So are they sworn by under oath and affirmation by someone under testimony to a judge that those are facts? Sir?
What's your name?
Sir, I don't have to get up on myself. Do you know what section? Do you know what section 3802 of the statute penal code is? That I don't have. Yes, look it up. You can Google it. Yeah, it says I don't have to identify myself unless I'm lawfully or illegally being arrested. And sir, I am not committing no crime. You have to get up.
Hello. Hi. She had come earlier, but I wasn't here. I had gone to take the baby to go get her shot. So that's why I wasn't here. I didn't get to talk to nobody. You didn't leave a number. So
I told them they wanted my business card. They said no, but I said it's right there.
oh, we didn't see that. I didn't see that. There's a card right there in the look. I said only the baby.
Okay, and I do need to see the home environment.
She needs $5 too. She might need a new job.
Concerns that there's meth usage in the home and that's very bad.
Here in our house.
Yes, ma'am.
Are those facts?
Oh my God, no. That there's meth used in here.
Are those valid statements?
These are the allegations.
Those are not
Okay,
facts.
they're not facts. It's an allegation, right?
Yes.
Now, who said that?
And reporters are confidential. I cannot disclose to the reporters.
Okay, so, okay.
You guys willing to get drug tested?
Is that drug test voluntary or is it mandatory?
Oh, this is voluntary, sir.
Okay, so, I mean, you want them to volunteer for something they don't have to do.
Or neglect.
Are those facts?
Like I said, so they're allegations.
Okay, they're not facts.
Like I said, they're allegations.
They're not facts.
You know what an allegation is?
I do know that they're not facts, and they never were in my case. Ever facts. You want to know what facts are? Facts are that my daughter, Ariana Escobar, 12 years old at the time, said on Fox 29 News and Mundo Hispanico that she was raped, molested, abused, and threatened, all in CPS custody, and that she had told CPS everything, and that nothing has been done. Now, those are facts. Ariana's saying this.
My name is Ariana Escobar. I am 12 years old, and I want to tell my side of the story. Nobody kidnapped me or abducted me. I ran away on my own because for the past 5 years, I have been in CPS. I have been abused, molested, and raped while in state's custody. I've suffered so much, and I've told CPS about everything, and nothing has been.
Hold on, I need to see a valid court order before you even come inside.
The cause numbers are in the front, sir.
No, I need to see a court order, a warrant, and the affidavit. Where's the affidavit? This is not an order to come inside. It's not? No, it's not. Hold on. You need 2 first-hand witnesses signed under testimony through a judge that these are facts.
Yes, that's your house.
This is what you call an invalid court order. There is no 2 first-hand witnesses alleging any of this. Who's the one that submitted this?
Who's the judge?
Who's the investigator that submitted
Who's
this?
the judge that signed that?
Who's the investigator?
Miss Angela, who is the judge
Who
that signed
submitted
that?
this? You know this is unlawful. You know that, right? We got you. Who's the one that submitted?
Who is the judge?
Who's the
Miss
judge?
Angela?
Who's the
Who
judge?
is the judge that it says on there?
There's a court order.
Who's the judge?
Who
Who's
is
the
the
judge?
judge?
Who's the judge?
There is no judge.
There is no judge.
Very back, yes, ma'am.
Donde mero está?
Who's the judge? Why don't you say it? Who's the
Why don't
judge?
you say who's the judge is?
Who's the judge?
That's the attorney.
Who's the judge?
Attorney.
And there's the presiding judge.
Ma'am, an attorney by law cannot move a court. Only a man. Only a man.
Judge
Only
has
a
to
man
sign
can
it.
do it.
Mom, don't send her over because
No.
only a judge can do that, and that is wrong. She is wrong.
That's why she's not
This
answering
is the
nothing.
same thing that they're trying to do, like always, child trafficking.
the cops can't do nothing.
Yo te dejé mirar todo bien.
Hold on.
Porque no me estás echando mentiras, dices tú. Pero no me eches mentiras, me estás haciendo algo.
Let's
No me
give
eches
her
mentiras así, Nancy.
let's give her a chance to let's give her a chance. Who's the first hand
I'm being
witness?
real with you.
And I'm being honest
Okay,
with you.
how come there's no judge sign on there?
There is a
Who's the
judge.
judge?
That
Who's the
signed
judge?
it right there. And if
Who's
you
the
want,
judge?
you can go down
Who's
tomorrow
the judge?
Wait, no,
and get a
where
copy
is it?
right
Where
there.
is it?
Who's the judge?
That's the cost number.
Who's the judge?
Where is the judge?
Who's the judge?
You don't even know what judge it is.
You're
you
the
have
case-
to read it.
Who's
You
the judge?
sorry.
Who's the judge?
Let her talk.
You're
recording,
sorry,
you're fine to
Angela.
record, but
You're
let her
very
talk.
sorry.
Who's the judge?
Who's the judge? Who is the judge?
And who are the
You
the
didn't
two
even know
first?
what the judge's name
Who
is.
by law? Who's the 2 first-hand witnesses under testimony by perjury?
Okay. Let them do what they need to do.
It's okay because this is all going to come back to the court anyways. It's going to come back to the judge under penalty of perjury. Who are the 2 first-hand witnesses signed under testimony
She
to a
already
judge?
checked the baby all over her body.
Yeah, they
in
have-
the
yes,
room.
yeah.
Está bien todo. So there's nothing in there.
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, there were some allegations.
We don't
that
care
were
about
made against
allegations.
you in regards
I have
to
a right
drug
to talk.
use.
I have
But
a right
there's
to
no
talk.
drug using.
I know, and that's
Okay, and
also
there's no
filed.
judge signed this. Tú, Angela. There's no judge signed that. Porque no me dijiste?
The judge signed that.
There's,
You
you
didn't
didn't
what
know
judge?
judge
Ask
signed
what
that
judge it is.
in the back.
What
Ask
is the
what judge
name?
it is.
That's
I
not
don't know
judge.
who-
That's
you
the
don't even know who
attorney.
he is. That's the attorney, and that is the presiding
You
judge.
don't know
We
who
don't
the
care about
judge's
that.
name
We
is?
want to know who the judge is.
You don't even know who the
The
judge's
judge
name is.
presiding.
What's his name?
I don't know what judge
She,
signed
Mom,
it.
that means
You-
that she
you
could have
sa-
signed it.
Who submitted this?
She could have signed it.
Look.
She could have signed it herself and done it. Yes,
Who submitted this?
Signed this March 20, 2019.
Who submitted this?
Grandma? No. You're not handing over the
Are y'all
baby
telling me that,
no,
that y'all
I'm
came
not.
over backing her up?
Okay, goodbye. You can leave
No,
now.
she can't.
But you know what?
Bye.
But you know what? We will have this all on social media.
No.
We will have you all over Facebook.
We need her to say who the judge was and who were the two first-hand witnesses that actually got this authorized.
This is not how this works, sir.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. This is the law. This is the law.
That's the law, right?
This is the law.
You don't like it, right? Okay. That's the law.
We're not doing no contracts with y'all. This is the attorney for CPS. This is not how you sign an order. And right here, it just says judge presiding, and it's just scribbled. Like, it doesn't, it's supposed to say right here in print the name of the judge, his full name. This is all invalid. The caseworker for CPS, Angela Ochoa, is the only one present at this time and on this document that is claiming that these are facts. There are no other first-hand witnesses to any.
Wow. Now, he actually educated a lot of us on that because we really don't know that. You actually, even as a mother or an aunt, you go into paranormal with just seeing CPS.
Right.
And the first thing comes to your mind, they come here to take our children. You know,
or law enforcement, period. You panic.
Yes. And I mean, seeing these videos and seeing what is going on now, I'm going to say the ones that's out there, and you know what I'm speaking to. Not just her, but other people. When you abuse that system like that, knowing that there are real cases, you need to be arrested as well.
You sure do. And for false allegations.
Because believe it or not, CPS will tell you, well, we can't reveal that. Okay, but it's been revealed that my name, my number, and my address, but you can't reveal the person that made this allegation.
Right.
And this person that's done this to me have done it over 20 times to the point to where Commerce Police Department said, if you make one more allegation, false allegation, we're coming to your door.
Right.
You know, so there are real cases out here that's really going on. But in that video, I kind of seen like your breathing change, especially when they showed the video of the young lady that was in foster care because CPS removed her from her family. And she had been raped and beaten. And that's one fear we do have. We in CPS talk about taking our children.
Exactly.
Because you're taking them from what you call an unsafe home and thinking that you're putting them into a safe home when really there has been babies killed in foster care. There's been kids molested and abused. So where should the fault really lie?
But then it gets to a whole nother point. So where I have an issue with CPS is where if there's an allegation, like she said, an allegation, okay? One thing about the school district, they are under oath. And if any hurt, harm, or danger that they're aware of a child, they are supposed to report that to CPS. I do agree with that. Yes, 100%. But once CPS gets the case and they start investigating, and then the actual biological father wants to know what's going on with the case, why would you withhold information from the biological father?
He's a biological father. Just like with CPS, they said, even though y'all don't communicate, we have to notify the father on what is going on with their child. But even as in Miss Williams' situation, it's going to be where you have a teacher that should have really just been not just fired, but fined for what she did. Okay, now you trying to take these children away from the grandmother and the mother for abuse. When this teacher done this, all you did was really give her a slap on the hand. It's okay for her to do that. So what? Now she can go home, build a licensed childcare, and then what?
Yeah, and abuse more children.
Exactly. So now we're up to speed with your nephew and this young lady, which you did name. With her, from what you have witnessed, As a mother, what kind of treatment have you seen her involved when it comes on to children?
Well, one of the recent things is, which is all this animosity and all the wrath, the fight that we have right now, is because my nephew got hit in the face with a belt buckle. Just like what Miss Williams, similar to Miss Williams' situation, what she was talking about.
But one is false and the other one is true.
Exactly. You know,
she had hers taken, but he's there with his mother.
Right. And, you know, she has refused to do any parenting classes. My brother has followed through.
Parenting classes don't help them.
Listen, we know young ladies that have sat through parenting classes every single day,
just
virtual,
to get it by.
Or whatever, and they actually take care of their children. But this one here doesn't have to do that. She can refuse all the counseling and all the everything she wants. Refuse.
So is this ordered?
Actually, yes. Well, it's not ordered. It's not ordered.
Okay.
It was not in front of a judge or anything. It was
but
not
is
ordered.
Is it
but it was a
CPS?
recommendation from CPS was for her to go ahead and do some classes or whatever.
So why was she given a recommendation and not told that she needs to do this or we're going to remove the children?
That's what
because
CPS is supposed to do.
Another lady, CPS came out and they was on her butt. If she did not take these classes, they was going to go to before the judge and they will have the children removed because it appeared that she's not doing anything in the best interest of the children. So why is she getting the same treatment?
Right. So with that being said, once we seen CPS was not doing their job, us as that village, my brother went and got his children as of December 19th. Okay. He took them from in school and put them in virtual.
Now, is there a custody?
There's no custody order. And I used to work for the Health and Human Service Commission. And people do know, as far as you getting benefits, the Health and Human Service Commission will give you food stamps and Medicaid for your children. Once you petition the system for yourself, as far as getting cash benefits or Medicaid for yourself, Texas Women Health Program, at that point, we actually have a script that tells you that you authorize us to contact the OAG and let them know this about you're trying to get benefits for yourself. So us as the state, we will pay for you, but now we're going to petition your baby father for child support to support your children, which I do believe is fair. You know what I mean? So once OAG get involved, they do a standard kind of like custody kind of order or whatever.
But you say he took the children.
Yeah.
So the children were residing with him.
Yes, they were. And by law, either parent, there's no real custody order. So if he wanted to go and get his kids from her mother and she's not there, the police can't interfere with that.
No,
and
there's no order. And it is Texas law. Texas laws, they are different from California, New York. But Texas laws is that if there's no custody order in hand that says who's supposed to have custody of the child, who has possession on what week, one holiday, whatever, they cannot do anything. They cannot make the father get the child back. They cannot make the mother get the child back.
Exactly.
Because he is the father. And until you get custody, there's nothing that they can do.
Right. Now, what my issue is, and especially with CPS, because us as a family, we have, of course, when CPS has a case, they start to go through all parties. It be the mama side and the daddy side, okay? Because they want to see where these kids' environment is, or whatever. They're over here, every second weekend of every month, they have a whole room. They're able to be children. They got toys and all that stuff. You know, my niece is not playing babysitter. You know, my nephew is not playing punching bag today or whatever. You know, they can actually be children, you know. But it's heartbreaking. And it makes you wonder more when you have your nephew say to you, Titi, do you love me? What do you mean, do I love you? Of course I love you. We like Vienna sausages together. You know, I mean, and he's like, well, you know, I just feel like nobody loves me and stuff like that. Why do you feel that way? I don't know. But then they're coached not to say anything. But Okay, you don't have to. I was raised like that too. My mama said, what happens in my house, stay in my house.
Yeah, I know those days.
So I get that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But how do you respond to that when it's like a child is sitting there actually crying for help? You know? The only reason why we had ended up finding out about this whole CPS situation was because the school contacted CPS. Because if you keep a child out of school for 10 consecutive days, that's our right to call CPS.
Yes.
And then when he comes back to school, he has a huge Band-Aid on his face. They want to know why he got a huge Band-Aid. Then they see this huge ring on his face. And then come to find out, she was disciplining him, whooping him with the belt, dropped the belt, picked it up, and just hit him. If you, like I said, there's nothing wrong with chastising your child, but there's a problem when you lose control.
Yeah.
You should never get so enraged to the point that you are not paying attention to how you are striking, hitting, whatever with this child.
So that's one thing with my kids. If I'm angry or I'm going through a depression moment, I tell them, please go in your room.
Right.
Go outside or something. But if I'm upset, I'm not going to put my hands on my child, because you don't realize when you put your hands on a child in anger, frustration, or when you got so much built up on you, you can actually hurt this person without realizing it.
Mm-hmm. Before you know it, and it can happen.
If you're at the point of frustration, you need to make sure that you can find somebody that can watch the children until you can calm down, or let them go with their dad, let them go with the grandmother, let them, go to daycare, or find some type of sports for them to get involved in.
And see, we try to be that supportive one to where, listen, being a mom is a 24-hour job. Okay? A 24-hour job. Even when they're not with you, you're still prepping for when they're coming back home.
Right.
Or getting things situated so that you can be prepped for whatever may happen, you know? So we look at it as it's an outlet for you too, my love. You know what I mean? Anytime. And my door has always been open. My number has been the same for over 15 years. There's no reason why you cannot contact me. Oh, no, I will take my number from another to bring it to something else to make sure you're going to contact me. But with that being said, this young lady, to go back to the story, this young lady has thought that we have had problems with her because she had another child. We don't have a problem with you having another child. People move on. Sometimes people is only around for a season. You know what I mean? Where the problem came was when my nephew got hurt.
Understandable.
Okay. Now we let one situation ride where she was not paying attention to the children or whatever, and he hit his head on the banister where he had to get staples in his head. That was the first incident. We try to let it ride like, okay, kids play. But this has happened behind your hands. It's hard to watch these kids come. And then when they know it's time to go, they're counting their days. Okay, so today's Friday. So that means we get one more whole day and then half a day on Sunday. And then we got to go home. Then when it's time to go home, we have to talk to them because they're crying. You know what I mean? They had so much fun. We did a family trip last year, which I'm definitely thankful that the young lady allowed us to still take them. Right. You know what I mean? Had a wonderful trip in South Padre. They've never been into the ocean. My nephew choking me because he on my back. Titi, pick me up, put me in the ocean. We do family things. We want them to feel embraced. You know what I mean? We need to bring back that old school love. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It has been lost, because I remember when you said the old school, everybody's at the table, we all ate together, and that has been lost.
Yeah.
But see, the other thing that's lost too, because some of these girls nowadays so distracted with the fact of the cell phone,
social media,
their friends, and a boyfriend, to where they're not paying. They don't know really how to be equipped to be a mother.
Right.
How you post support your life. It's not about, oh, babies are cute and I just want one and this and that. No, it's a lot of work behind that.
It is.
And my other thing is that some of these kids coming up now, they really feel like, oh, I have a baby, my mama got it. No.
Right.
It's your responsibility. But you have to understand, these children did not ask to come into this world. You chose to bring them in this world. Exactly. So you choose to sit down and be the mother that you need to be, and without abuse.
And if you cannot and you know that there are the father or even the father's family is willing to take on these children just to give them their youth still. Preserve that youth while they can, because look at all these teenage pregnancies. My niece is about to be 9 this year. You know what I mean? She knows how to TikTok and selfie and stuff like that. We can't.
I still don't know how to do that.
We can't filter everything.
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was one time my niece was sitting there watching My Little Pony on YouTube, and my dad overheard it, and it was a remake of My Little Pony, and it had all his cousins. So of course you need to.
My Little Pony
is My Little Pony. And we don't allow the kids to watch YouTube.
Right.
They're not allowed to watch YouTube because it needs to be filtered what they're watching.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And we do activities with them. You know, when it comes down, you struggling, we find out that you're struggling in school, whatever. Well, guess what? We use real change and count with them. You know what I mean? We sit there and we read. My niece loves to read. Now she knows about the Babysitters Club. She is a Babysitters Club fanatic. You know, that came out back in our day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
So,
Andrea, excuse me just a second. Andrea Williams, you do not have to let them in without a warrant or a real court order. They will forget the documents. So please read them before opening the door. No warrant, you do not have to open the door. I spoke to him before. Look at her face. They forgot the judge's signature. They surely did. And we looked at that very carefully.
Yeah.
And I remember documents that say that it just says JP. And I really didn't think about that until now when he brought it up. They'll make you to believe that an actual judge signed it. But if it is not a judge's name.
Yeah, but see, what people is trying to do now is trying to get all around it.
They're trying to play the judge.
Yeah, but not even that. Now they're trying to just go and get documentation and try to go get a notary to actually stamp off. Now, we've witnessed that ourselves.
That's what they call a warrant now?
No. Okay, so now one thing that I don't agree with here in Texas, because in New York State, stuff like this, non-existent. I can't say it's non-existent, but they're very strict when it comes down to that.
Right.
It's if you don't even have the proper foods in your home, they will take your children from your home. Okay? Like, because as far as these kids being abused and being killed, like we research, 1 out of every 7 children a day is being abused.
Just think about that in calculation for a year.
And that's according to a year's time
And it
span.
makes you think that's a higher rate than domestic violence.
Yes. It's just as bad as domestic violence.
Yes.
The only difference with domestic violence, a lot of times the women are scared to speak their voice up.
But so are children.
Yeah. But a lot of times with these children, they don't have their voice. You know what I mean? So people like me that is an auntie and my mother that is a grandmother, we're speaking out for them.
Yeah.
So when they come to us and they're telling us, no, we want to stay. No, we're not trying to keep them away from her. And I don't want nobody to get that confused. We're not trying to keep her away.
And see, at the same time, even though you're speaking for the children, in a court of law, even I hate when they talk about doing home studies. Because we had a home study lady named Elva Cardenas, and she was prejudiced in our case. And mind you that I was the only black person. So she made a lot of fraudulent allegations. But my thing is that they need to know when they can refuse that.
Right.
Because everybody that you might think that, because they got a title, have your back, they don't.
Exactly. And that was the situation with the CPS case. The caseworker, she seemed like she was all for it. But everything that she told us to do, she would go back and report to this young lady, which made it more stressful for my brother as far as trying to protect his children. Right. So yes, he has the right as their biological father to say, hey sis, do you mind watching the kids for me for a couple of hours while I go to work?
Right.
Or whatever, you know what I mean? So due to the fact I work nights, yeah, I'm going to be there for my brother.
Exactly.
Now he has had his kids since December 19th, like I said. She didn't start any trouble until February 4th.
Okay, hold up. He had him since December.
Since December 19th. She has not started no drama until February 4th.
Did she call and check on the kids?
No.
Did she stop to try to see them?
To my knowledge, she came to my mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
The kids were not with my mother, though.
Mm-hmm.
They are with their father. You know what I mean? So, yes, he has a residence there, but that doesn't mean he always has to stay there all the time. He's a truck driver. He said his kids love to ride the road.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why stick them in the house when they can see other cultures? They get to try different foods, get to pet on the cows and
Well, see, they looking at it as they're bonding with their dad.
Exactly. You know? So then the times when he did come off of the road or whatever, he has brought them to me. But this young lady harassed my mother, went to her house multiple times with the police. And like she said, they're not here. Never one time has this young lady ever called my phone. Ever called my phone to ask me, hey, do you happen to have my kids or see my kids?
I'm looking for my kids. I'm calling the auntie. I'm calling the sister. I'm calling the grandmother, the grandfather. I'm calling the homeboy.
Listen, never once did she call me because by law, I know the law. Mm-hmm. If she was to come to my house and say, I want my kids, by all means necessary, I have to let them go.
Yeah.
I have to let them go. They're not my biological children.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, if my brother was there and my brother chose not to allow them to leave, then she couldn't get them.
Right.
But if she was to come solely by herself or even call and say, hey, Tam, by any way, do you know where my children are? But you can call my mother and you can harass her.
But my thing is, it's been December to February.
December to February.
Where was your concern for your children?
In between that time.
Not in between each day.
Listen, I have a dog. I don't have no children. And everybody know on Facebook, I lost my mind until 4:30 in the morning until my puppy came back home.
Oh.
Okay? Now, I will go to hell and back for my niece and nephews.
Right.
Especially if I could do that for a dog that I can leave at home already. But my niece and nephew, and I've told her, and I am one of those aunties. I'm very protective because I've went through things in my own childhood with sexual abuse and being abused and things of that sort. When you don't have a voice or you're scared to say anything or you're protecting somebody else or whatever, whatnot, and you just don't know who you can go to or who you can trust. Because at this point, as a child, being abused so much, you looking like everybody is a op. You know what I mean? And down to the point, I had a single parent mother that made sure that it was plenty of nights where I see my mother did not even eat to make sure me and my brother ate.
Right. Andrea's chimed in and she said, when schools were allowed to spank you with belts, wooden paddles, and switches, it was not considered abuse. When that generation continued to spank the way they were raised, now it is called abuse. Mm-hmm. They were copying the same discipline on how they were raised. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I remember that one paddle. I remember that paddle too, because I went to Salado Middle School and he had a paddle that had holes in it. Mm. And I took off running. No. That's wood. That's not something, that's something that could cause injury. That's something that could cause abuse. Mm. You know, a bruise, I mean. I went and I called my mama.
Right.
She came and she said, I didn't keep permission to put your hand on my child.
Right.
Not with that.
Right.
You know, but yeah, for centuries, the paddles and all that was okay. Mm-hmm. So now they're saying you as a parent is abusive.
Right.
But the school system, it's okay.
Right. And it's not okay.
That's like somebody confused.
It's more confused. It's being very contradicting. You're saying it's okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for me to do it to my own child. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's not okay. Like I said, I'm okay with it. Mm-hmm. But when you're using excessive force, when you're losing control,
on a 5-year-old?
On a 5-year-old. Period. On any child. Really, it doesn't have to be a 5-year-old.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's any child.
I'm just thinking about him and what he's going through. And my thing is that we're not talking about another adult. We're talking about a child.
There was an incident where he spilled some water around some electronics. Mm-hmm. And I remember my mother calling me and she was upset. She was crying because she's never seen him do this before. Mm-hmm. He thought he was going to get beat for spilling water. Just water. So like when he comes around and he gets in trouble with us, We don't do the hitting. Why? Because that's what he's accustomed to. He's accustomed to people putting their hands on him.
That's not always the answer.
That's not always the answer.
And spanking a child for everything, that's not the answer.
At all.
Sometimes it takes time and patience to take your emotions out of something and say, okay, if this child's doing this repeatedly, there's something going on. More than just saying he's bad, more than just giving your own diagnosis, oh, he got ADHD. Really research what's going on with your child.
Right.
Maybe they're going through something in school. Maybe it's just something they have experienced. You know, because I even came to my daughter and I've asked her, are you angry at me about something?
Right.
Because I want us to talk about it so we can get past it and try to heal together from it.
Right.
But if you continue to shut up, go to your room, or want to just put your hands on them, you're not solving the problem. You're creating a real problem. Because you're not looking at the outcome.
Yep. And then you're looking at, one of my issues with the whole ADHD, with them wanting to medicate these babies, you're medicating these babies during the developmental stage. So you're already stunting them before they can get started.
Exactly.
Okay? I do have a brother that was on Ritalin as a child.
I don't like it.
You know?
I don't like it.
And when he got grown, he started playing into recreational drugs. You know what I mean? Which caused him to have to deal with different situations that he has to deal with to this day.
And you can kind of see why that happened like that.
Exactly.
You know, I can see that because, you know, I know we did studies and everything. And a lot of the school system, what a lot of people don't know, and I have to educate one mother on, because I've been through it because I had a child with sickle cell. These school districts are quick to throw your children into special ed. Now, mind you, you have to make sure you stand for your child. Do not let them put that fear in you. Do not accept everything that they say. Because they tried to do that with my son, and there was nothing wrong with my son. He just suffered with sickle cell anemia, beta thalassemia 0, a blood disorder. There was nothing wrong with his mind. He graduated with a 4.0.
Right.
How you gonna tell me that he needs to be in special ed and ride a special needs bus? That's why I told the teacher, we almost got into it because I'm in a meeting, my mom constantly hit me like this, and I said, stop hitting me, because me and her were just almost toe-to-toe. You drive it, you ride that yellow bus. There's nothing wrong with my son, because what parents don't know, if you don't stand up against the school district, these school districts are making thousands of dollars for each child they get into a special education.
Yeah. For
each child that they put on medication, they make it, their school district gets paid up in the thousands for that child. If they get so many children, they really get paid. So you got to keep in mind about that, because I put my foot down. You know, my child ain't going through that. No, he's not. I will have him homeschooled before I put him through that. It's enough that he's got to deal with the crisis behind sickle cell. But you're going to sit up here and tell me, oh, he needs to be in a special education. He's not slow.
But what it is now, these kids, some of these kids are so advanced, because my nephew is an advanced one. I watched him during virtual. It was hilarious.
Wow.
Hilarious. Because I'm watching him doing his reading, and the other kids are reading, and he's like, that word is win. Come on, man. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and read it. He has it on mute, and he's going ahead, he's reading the story. But then when they call on him, and they're like, okay, I need you to follow along. And then he's like, I am following along. What happened was, and he starts telling the story. And she's like, whoa. Wow. Some of these kids are not being challenged. Some kids are a little more advanced. You know what I mean? To where maybe you might need to sit back and see what's going on, because if he's bored, of course he's going to act up. I mean, most of us, when we were younger, we didn't know nothing about really just getting medication like that or whatever. It was always, you always sat next close to the teacher, and what the teacher did, always had some printouts, some extra for you to do, because you was moving a little bit faster than the rest of the class.
And we see now that this is a very loving child. He's very advanced. And like Andrea just said, the schools do not spank anymore. If your child is bad, they just make up a story and call CPS. See?
Yeah, they do.
Now let's go ahead and rewind to a situation where you're here today about Child Protective Services.
Well, the reason why I'm here today with Child Protective Services, because Child Protective Services was the ones that was playing devil's advocate on both sides. And I find that not to be fair.
Right.
You know, and even watching the Netflix story of Gabriel Fernandez or Hernandez, you know, CPS came out to that home a number of times, you know what I mean? And still ignored the straight up facts, the abuse, the pictures and everything like that. Now, if Gabriel had some family like us that's fighting for him, you know what I mean? Maybe this boy could have survived.
Right.
We are a family that's fighting for my nephew. Right. I don't want a Netflix special.
Right.
Situation.
Exactly.
Okay. We're trying to prevent that.
Yes.
Okay. All the way around. You know, if you can't, then let someone who will, especially when you know they're willing.
Yes.
You know, this young lady never called. Like, I'd have been calling the CIA for my child. She never called me. And the reason why I'm speaking out, because it was mainly me. Okay. And then this young lady actually had a Bexar County sheriff with her, was posting pictures on Facebook with him and everything.
So this was a show for her.
Exactly. You know, and it's spitting a whole bunch of stuff, even spit down to some personal business of mine. And it wasn't even my situation. Why did you bring me into that? You were wrong. You know what I mean? I've only tried to be supportive and I stay in my lane. Whatever goes on with you and my brother, that's you and my brother. Now, when it comes down to them kids, you can talk to me all day. Okay? I will help you and support you 110% when it comes down to them children. Okay? So you sat here and you ran around town all day. Bringing the sheriffs and the police to my parents' house and everything like that. Never once did you ever call me or brought the sheriff to me. Never once did you ever reach out to me or whatever. My Facebook is open. My business page is out open and everything. She could have inboxed. She knows people that know me.
And see, this is what I don't understand about this here, is the fact that she goes to your mother, but she couldn't inbox you. She couldn't inbox the brother, which is the dad.
She wasn't even calling him.
So when she went to your mother, and the CPS is involved because of the situation.
Right.
And
which is her CPS case. It's her case. Now, this is a case that's been pending for almost 2 years, I want to say now, or whatever. And they keep saying it was about to close the case, but then something else had came up. We don't know entirely the whole extent of her case or whatever. Really don't care unless it's about the children.
Right.
Okay. So when he comes with this scar and she's wondering why we're so upset, we're upset at the fact that you lost control. You could have took that baby eye out. That could have been some lifelong damage.
I don't know. Even if it was an accident, I couldn't see accepting or blowing off what I did to my son. I'll be apologizing. I'll be holding him. I would feel so bad. You know, it would hurt me. You know. And I don't understand some of these women, how they go, because, you know.
And see, the whole point of the matter is it's a sour breakup that unfortunately it trickled on. It trickled on to the rest of the family. It's the family and the kids that's being penalized. The kids love to come around. They expect to hear from us. I know my nephew was expecting to hear from us yesterday. We got gifts for him and everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, them two, they can go tit for tat all day. But we tell them both, when it comes down to these kids, that's all we're concerned about. Exactly. Okay? So now that we know that, my niece had even said, everybody in the house hits him. And I'm like, what you mean everybody in the house hits him? Yeah, anytime he does anything, everybody hits him. So that's why he's lashing out. And I feel like it's a pride when you're asking me, Titi, do you love me? Or whatever.
He probably feel like the way he's being treated, that nobody really hugs him, embraces him, or take the time to see how he feels. So he needs that confirmation. Right. Well, do you at least love me?
Right. You know, and then, you know, just a simple mistake. He's having a whole mental breakdown, crying, thinking he's going to get beat. No. If you're in trouble, you stand in the corner. You're going to stand in the corner and put the arms out. That's gonna teach you a little bit more than me beating on you too.
Is CPS knowing all this?
CPS knows all this. We have a folder about this thick of everything that has happened
And she made no attempt to remove the child?
They have not made no attempt to remove the child. They have not made an attempt to remove either one of them.
Even with the bruised eye?
Even with the bruised eye.
What the school
even with the staples in the head or whatever, even with them missing school a number amount of days, you know, I feel bad for her. You know, and I do truly wholeheartedly feel bad for her because it does start with parenting. You know, my mother went through hell and then some. We used to watch her be beat to make sure that she took care of us or whatever. She was in an abusive relationship. She could have let go a long time ago, but she never did. You know what I mean? She never looked at it for the fact of a baby shower or any of that, because I don't even think she even had that then. You know, they had baby showers back then, but mind you, back in the day, teenage pregnancy.
But see, now they're going so far, they're making it like, you know, social media gives them that window to want to be this person that people don't know.
Right.
Like they the star, like, oh, this is happening, even to get attention. Because that's one thing, you know, I'm going to say like this. I've dealt with, you know, the fact that, you know, my sister, as well as your brother, you know, she's not like your brother. It's flip-flop the other way. My sister's the one who abused my nieces to where I left work and I'm down in the police department. But then she gets on social media and she wants to put on a show like, oh, this is her, this is she, this is what she is like, and then start harassing me and all that. Baby, you can't destroy one for what God has purpose in me. But to see my niece that way today, knowing that we have never been abused like that, for you to do my niece like that. And I got the picture to this day. How dare you?
And as you as an aunt, you stepped up
to
protect them children.
Yes. Well, at this point, my mom and dad is the one that has custody of them now. So that there is where it goes down. But we're going to take a small break. I'm going to show y'all again this here with this story with Malia, because she's about the newest one we had.
Yeah.
And it's something that we should not forget. So we'll be back after this.
It's been more than a week since 4-year-old Malia Davis disappeared. Crews expanded their search today while the girl's stepfather sits in jail.
Today we learned new details about investigations by Child Protective Services, including allegations by both Malia's mother and biological father. Channel 2's Sophia Ojeda is live with what is in those documents. Sophia?
Bill and Lauren, CPS documents obtained by Channel 2 show that CPS history that involved little Malia Davis dates back to last summer. And we are asking the question on lots of folks' minds tonight. Why was Malia allowed to go back home to a home these court papers call abusive? Malia Davis is a happy child who loves to watch cartoons, play with siblings, and have her hair done. This is how the courts described little Malia Davis on April 10th, 2019, 8 months after the report of child abuse in her home. According to court documents, on August 13th, 2018, Malia was physically abused, but investigators could not identify who was responsible. In that same report, CPS investigators allege Malia was neglected by her mother, Brittany Bowens. In September of 2018, a judge ordered Malia Davis be placed with a court sitter or supervisor. Malia's parents could see her in the hospital, but the documents don't state why Malia was in the hospital. But we do know she did undergo brain surgery stemming from a head injury. Fast forward to February 2019, after Malia's mother and father completed parenting classes, court records show Malia was returned to her mother, Brittany Bowens. 3 months later, Malia is now missing. Blood evidence collected from her home, her stepfather accused of tampering with evidence. Now, we reached out to Quan LX, who is representing Malia's mother. He told us, quote, "It is extremely obvious that CPS failed Malia. It is obvious that Malia was abused in the home. It is shameful that CPS didn't do a better job at protecting Malia. Had CPS held Malia in their custody, perhaps Malia would still be here today. I called Child Protective Services to get some more insight into this case. A representative told me over the phone that she could not comment. One thing to note, in these court documents, doctors could not tell whether those injuries that Malia suffered actually came from child abuse. We've posted a link to those documents on our website, clicktohouston.com, if you want to check those out. Reporting live downtown, Sophia Okita, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Okay. Now, we're going to go fast forward to an incident that happened. Where was CPS there with the Bexar County Police Department?
No, they were not. Bexar County pulled up a Bexar County sheriff, the same one that was on Facebook with the young lady earlier that day. Came to my mother's house. I almost lost my mother in 2000 to a drunk driver. Came over the car, came over the line, and it was a head-on collision, and both of her ankles were crushed in this car accident. So to the naked eye, you wouldn't know that anything was wrong with her. You might just think she just has a little limp. But her ankles were reconstructed with screws and plates. So she has a difficulty with her mobility, for sure. You know, it's been plenty of times pull up into a handicapped spot and you got to argue with somebody. You're not handicapped. You don't know what her condition is.
Exactly.
You know, so with that being said, the kids were just leaving my home.
Okay.
Or whatever. My father had just came and picked them up. My brother had my parents come and get them. CPS did contact my mother and asked her, did she know where the kids were? At the time, she did not know that they were with me at the time. You know what I mean? So then when I finally talked to her, she found out she contacted CPS like she was supposed to, and let them know, hey, listen, I know the kids are with my daughter. I'll have them later on this evening. And they even set up an appointment for the next day for CPS to come out and see them. CPS was fully aware of where they were.
So it's not like you try to keep information away.
Exactly. They knew there was no hurt, harm, or danger. The lady would come in the house and she would speak with the kids individually outside. And then she'll come in just to do a welfare check and things like they're supposed to or whatever. But the different times that this young lady has sent the police there, the kids were not there. They were with their father. You know what I mean? But then the times that they were with me, still, I've never gotten no call personally from her like, are you aware of where my children are?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Your mom says she doesn't know, so do you know?
Never once did she contact me. So then when she finally brings this sheriff officer, starts to pull other family members that had no idea of it, and they were actually doing like, I feel like this officer was doing something he had no business doing, because he started going to family members that were extended family members down here that only see them once in a while when they come around. You know what I mean? Then they finally come to my mother's house. I'm on the phone with my mother. The phone goes dead. So I call her back. She doesn't answer. So I call her back again. She still doesn't answer. When she finally calls me back, she goes, I think you need to come here because the police is trying to arrest me. And I'm like, arrest you? So, of course, I'm less than 5 minutes.
After she tried to go ahead and cooperate with CPS, turn around, they're trying to still
arrest her. Saying kidnapping of her grandchildren.
But she didn't have them.
But the kids were not even there at that moment.
So was this Bexar County or was this CPS or both?
This was Bexar County. CPS was not there, but CPS was fully aware. You know what I mean? Which CPS, I personally feel like she might have contacted the young lady and like, oh yeah, they're with his mother. At the time, at that moment, they were not. They were with me. You know what I mean? So when I got there and I see this officer, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of them ones I will challenge. Well, especially I fight for what's right.
Right.
Okay. So I'm challenging the fact that you were on Facebook all day. You know what I mean? How can I trust you with letting these kids go back to this woman after she done hit her child in the face with a belt buckle and he acting out different behavior? Do you know what's really going on? Where's the CPS worker? My mother is on the line trying to call the CPS worker the whole entire time while I'm talking to the officer or whatever. So my father happens to pull up with the kids finally because they did a pit stop to the store. The kids, QT ice cream, all types of stuff, whatever. You know? So my father finally pulls up and I tell the officer, can you please move your truck so he can get on his property? Because technically they can't take them if they're in the house. You know what I mean? Because grandparents still do have rights too.
Yeah, by Texas laws, I don't know about the other states. Texas do have grandparents' rights.
Right. So, you know, we was just trying to do it the way of going through my brother, you know, but the fight is always between her and my brother that's taken out on these kids with us, you know. So, make a long story short, this man, I don't know what he was on the phone. My boyfriend was in the car. He heard the whole conversation. He was talking to somebody else. These other officers pulled up. Yes, I'm in my feelings. I'm yelling at the young lady in the street. And I'm like, you know, you're wrong because you hit him in the face with a belt buckle. Stop making it seem like it's about your new child or whatever you got going on. This is solely about how you hit my nephew in the face, okay, with this belt buckle.
And with these cops and all hearing this, what are they saying? Was there any expression, like showing any type of, you know, emotion for this young man?
Well, this is the sad part. Now, the sheriff, he, just like me, he's black. He had his hand on his taser the whole entire time. I know he was ready to tase me. But what I did was, because I do know the law, when the other officer cruiser pulled up and he's hearing all this commotion, I was like, you know what, sir, excuse me. Can me and you go over here? Let me tell you what's going on. Because I'm very emotional and unfortunately, my ocular level will not go down. Okay? Because this is about these children about to be released back to this woman that we've known on more than one occasion that they have been left home alone by themselves, too. Okay.
And what were their ages?
And at that time, when they were left home, apparently she was doing Lyft. My niece had to be about 4 or 5, and my nephew had to be about 3. And you leave them, and the only reason
without supervision,
and the only reason why we knew is because, of course, these babies are advanced. My niece texted saying she was cold in the tub.
Cold in the tub.
In the tub. She was trying to give herself a bath, and the water was too cold. You know, but mind you, this is nothing that we're like, this is from what we getting from the actual children. This is not hearsay from other people.
And for what I'm hearing in details, can no child just make this up?
Right.
You know, so when she told you she was cold in the tub, did you go over there at the time? Or
no, she didn't tell me. We ended up getting a message after the fact. You know, I hear a lot of hearsay from this person, that person. I'm one of them people, I don't like to hear hearsay. Bring me some facts. Okay? If you know something is going on wrong at that moment, give me a call so I can come up on the scene for myself. Okay? Point blank period. I don't got time to be playing games with nonsense of you just because you mad at her at the moment. Now you want to tell me everything that she's done wrong to my niece and nephew, but you was perfectly fine with it when y'all was supposed to be together, huh?
Wow.
But you know, here nor there. So she pulls up and she has the regular statement that OAG, remember we talk about the Health and Human Service Commission, the basic documents as far as what they give you is, it's not a real custody order. It's just saying that you have rights as a dad or whatever, because we are petitioning you for child support for your child because she's on benefits. She's waving this paper around like it's court ordered. We have no copy. We cannot find the copy. We have went to the clerk's office. Even the investigator was having a hard time trying to even find out what document she was trying to flash around. But at that point, they already released the kids back to her. Hold on, to put the icing on the cake, this same black officer. Now, the other officers that I'm talking to, I'm telling them the whole story. I'm showing them pictures. I'm showing them the text messages. I'm showing them the post of this other officer. Even the other officers is now looking at this man like, what's really going on? Because she got a lot of documentation over here. Like, for real, what's going on? You know, we're not going off here, so we're going off of actual facts. This is what they put on here all day. Just because you deleted it don't mean we ain't got it, boo.
See, that's me. I screenshot real quick.
You know,
download real quick.
Exactly. You know, so this officer, he's mad because now I done put him on blast for Facebook. You know what he does? He detains both me, my mom, and dad. But he roughhouses my mom and grabs her. Mind you, she can't move as fast. Down to the point that both me and my dad is like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't do that to her. We're not trying to fight you. We're not trying to fight you now. You know what I mean? But you don't need to roughhouse like that.
Do you remember the name of this officer?
No, I don't. I do. I actually have documentation of it, but I didn't bring that with me, of course.
Because I'm not understanding, even with the older lady, why would he handle? Because I know a lot of them abuse their authority, but why would you handle an elderly lady that's barely moving in that manner? as if she can fight you.
But the thing about it is, you're right in front of her truck, and her license plate has a huge handicap sign on it. And we're telling you this.
Well, that shows right there he never had respect for his mother at all.
You know?
That's in my book.
So then I'm sitting in the back of the cruiser. The kids are still in my mother's truck from when my dad pulled up. The kids are like, do we really have to go? I miss her. You know, and I would ask them when they're with me, do you miss your mom? You want to talk to your mom? Right. Or whatever. I'm not going to ever take her motherhood from her. She's a mother first. Okay? What I will get upset with you about is how you handle them at times.
Exactly.
Okay? Because if they're in the wrong, they're in the wrong. But there's a way to discipline and chastise your child. And that's what it boils down to. Because the CPS case became because of you. You keep shouting CPS, but you're not telling these people that the CPS is because of you. You're blasting us on Facebook and social media saying this family kidnapped my kids and did this, that, and the third. But you're not telling them why we are having a hard time letting these babies go.
Okay, first of all, she's saying that you kidnapped the kids, but yet still, so.
But we had the kids since December 19th.
When did you realize that these kids were kidnapped? So as you speak, because they've been having them since
December 19th.
To what? February?
Into February, the mid of February.
So at what point did you realize, oh wow, my kids are gone? Like, who does that?
But the week prior to her bringing to us having this situation, she was posting pictures of her getting ready to go out. So how concerned are you?
That's a concern right there. That's what's more important to her.
How concerned were you of your children then when you was ready to go to the club or go to the bar, whatever you was going to do? You didn't have that much concern. But you was just more butthurt at the fact that and she tried to hide where she lived from us. And it just happened to be by default. You know, because the universe works in a lot of mysterious ways. God, our creator, has a funny way at humor, at showing things to you without even being known. Mm-hmm. And it was just as simple as me dropping my boyfriend off to work, to where he recognized my nephew. And I'm like, who are you talking about? And he was like, your nephew. And I'm like, where? And that's how we actually found out where she stayed, because she wanted to keep that a secret from us. He happened to be getting picked up by my parents one time, and they was trying to chase my parents down in traffic, saying that they were stalking her. I don't know how somebody can stalk you if you're recording them from behind them. Mm-hmm. I thought stalking, they were supposed to be behind you, following you, not you following them. Yeah. So who's the stalker there?
Yeah. And pay attention to the comments in there. Andrea, thank you so much, lady. She's actually putting some website information so that you know your rights and to know when you need to identify certain things when it comes down to CPS. Now, with CPS in this situation here, at any time has she contacted you since after this?
No, I actually contacted her. We actually had I can say a semi-adult conversation for a change. Definitely, I did hear a little more maturity. And I explained to her as far as what was the problem. It's not because you moved on, my love. It's because of the abuse that we have seen with my nephew.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Now, my niece, of course, with the new baby, everything's a baby doll to little girls. We know how they do. You know what I mean? But as far as for him as a boy, you know what I mean? At one point in time, he was that shine.
He was a baby.
You know what I mean? For her. And he recognizes that. But he feels like he's not getting that love anymore. So that's why he's asking everybody, Nani, Papa, Titi, Dad, do you love me? And I asked her about it. She was like, I don't know where he's getting that from. Well, he's with you majority of the time. So why do you not know where he's getting that from? Exactly. Now, that's my next question to you. Where are you for you not to know that he's feeling this way? You know what I mean? And
what are you not doing?
Right.
You know, for him to be placed in this position to feel this way. Because, yes, you know, we can get overwhelmed with work. We can get overwhelmed with the wrong things. But we tend to forget sometimes without, you know, taking things for granted. But this is a child.
Right.
When you decide to have children, that child needs your full attention. That's one thing I could never take my grandmother, because my grandmother poured her life into me. Mm-hmm. She did everything that she was to. She was more of a mother than a grandmother. Mm-hmm. But these young mothers nowadays, they need to wake up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them do see these kids as oh, this is the income tax money. This is food stamps.
A new stimulus.
Oh, we getting stimulus. Let me go get my child. You know, this is not what these kids are for.
Right.
They are a life just like you. And to use them for a dollar sign, you're pathetic.
Right.
So, have you heard any more from her since this incident?
I haven't heard anything from her. I called her multiple times yesterday to wish her a happy birthday. Didn't get a chance to. My brother went over there with the constable or whatever just to see his son, to say happy birthday or whatever. Mind you, it's his birthday. That's spoiled. That's spoiled, but it's both of their birthday. It's his dad's plus his birthday. So that crushed my brother's heart that he couldn't even see his own son.
And that's what she wants to do. That's the childlike aspect of her. She wants to see, well, I know this hurt him. Oh no, they ain't gonna see my kids anymore. It's not about you. It's about these kids. And you need to really grow up.
Right.
But my thing about it is there needs to be a law put out, because at the end of the day, that is the dead. And you know, even when my son passed, and people were trying to come at me, but he wouldn't want him there. That ain't the point. As a mother, I felt the right thing to do was, because at the end of the day, I laid with that man. That is his dad.
Right.
This is death. How dare you? So what? My thing is, she's not thinking that way.
Right.
We all are not promised tomorrow.
At all.
We're not promised the next hour. How dare you take any time from this child, from his father?
Mm-hmm.
And as my big mama say, you'll reap what you sow. You just don't know how it's going to come and why.
Right.
So, do you have anything that you want to share with anybody out there as a nutritional word to just, or speak to your nephew? Because I know you didn't get to speak to him yesterday. Say something to him right now.
If anything, more or less than anything, we need to get back to the old school way. We need to become that real village for sure. We're losing the concept of what it's about when it comes down to these children. Exactly. We need to redirect them, show them, like they don't even teach Black History Month anymore like that, like they used to, like when we were children. We used to see the Million Man March and Martin Luther King speeches and stuff like that. Sit down, talk to them, get to know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't just put them in football. And meanwhile, they like basketball the whole time. You know what I mean? Get to know your children. And us that are standing there, that are aunties and uncles that are actually trying to be there, grandparents that are trying to be there, stand your ground to what you believe.
Yes.
I believe in making sure that these kids is in no hurt, harm, or danger, rather they're with anybody. Exactly. And if anybody knows me, you could be in the grocery store and you could be yelling at your child the wrong way, and I don't even
my
know
nerves
you.
get rare. Like,
I don't even know you, and I will walk up on you and I'll be like, that child does not deserve to
Exactly.
be talked to like that.
Exactly. And their excuse is, oh, well, you just don't know. He's bad. That's not an excuse either. That's not a reason.
Mm-mm.
And my thing is that I'm going to say, I've dealt with CPS and I've had some good ones and I had one bad one. But what I have to say to them is that you took an oath.
To protect.
It's not, everything is not about money. When does it take the time to look at your own children and look at these other children and say how you would feel? No matter what, this is a life. They do not deserve to feel as if they have no one that can protect them.
I actually tried to contact some CPS workers and they would not talk to me about the situation.
No, they want to stay behind. They want to stay behind covers.
They did not want to talk about the situation. And at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to make sure that these kids are in homes that are healthy for them. You know what I mean? Mental abuse is just as bad as physical abuse.
Exactly.
Emotional abuse is just as bad.
Verbal, yes.
Yes. So it takes for the awareness.
Yeah.
CPS needs to be taking accountability for their actions.
Exactly. And I mean, you say that, well, the question's out there, did CPS fail this child? Did CPS fail that child? Malia Davis, CPS failed him. Brittany, CPS failed him. There's a lot of cases. You want to sit here and take the responsibility off of yourself. When you had an oath and a job to uphold and to protect these children, and you failed, and you should be responsible for that.
And you also failed the family.
And my thing is, if that child ended up dead, it's just like they killed him too.
Exactly.
And that's the way I look at it. You know, they do have some good CPS workers out there. I have.
Yeah.
But there are some that are sour bunches.
Well, one thing that I found out with Texas too that I find to be really
Texas
sad
is corrupt. They backwards.
with CPS, I've came across some CPS workers that are some good workers,
Yes.
but they can't even help me and my family because they're not part of Bexar County.
Exactly. There's a jurisdiction. But at the same
Right.
time, this is what I was saying as well, is that they need to go through this system and weave out all this bad apples. There are good ones, but weave out the bad ones because they're not for these children. They're not for the benefit of the child. Because just as Miss Williams did, she was protecting her grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
They violated not only her home, but her rights.
Mm-hmm.
And for the police department to feel like it should just go away, if those wasn't your uniforms,
Mm-hmm.
isn't there a law against perpetrating a police officer?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have badges on. Why y'all not doing an investigation?
Right.
Why are you just blowing it up? These kids, like she said, didn't have nightmares. They're clenching on these normal, reactions of a child that's been traumatized. How dare you feel like you don't have to do anything and to just blow it off? If you cannot handle a case, get out of the system. Get out of the system
Mm-hmm.
because you don't belong. You don't deserve that pay. You don't deserve that title. You don't deserve to be in that child's presence because you can't protect them. And not only should you be going after these abusive parents, but you need to search out and do background checks on these foster homes that are molesting and killing these children as well. Because if you was going to allow them to go to a home that's not safe, they did better staying where they was at.
Right.
Why did you move them if for the safety of them, if you're going to put them in something that's actually going to do the same thing or worse?
Right.
You should do a periodic background check. You should do pop-ups on these people without them knowing. And that's a lot of their fault. Because they let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Stop letting them know when you're gonna show up. And start catching them and see what this child said. Pull the child to the side then with the foster parent as well, like you did with the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Stop feeling like these grandmothers, these aunties, these uncles, or the dad don't have rights, because they do.
Mm-hmm.
They are blood but running through these children. And something needs to be done. Not just with the CPS, but also the police department.
I think
care.
Everything as a whole. We need to start doing self-examinations on ourselves.
Because if nobody stands for the children, who do they have? There is so many children that we are losing now today. Not just through, the streets, but the CPS care. CPS care. Because I remember in 96, this mother went to the registry with her newborn child. The child arm was broken, whatever. And they called CPS. They didn't want to hear nothing that mother said or the dad said, nothing. And when CPS came, they immediately took this child to foster care. When they did investigation, they found out that the mother was telling the truth. She tripped and fell, and she had the baby in her arm. When they went to go get her baby was dead. The foster parents killed that baby. Did CPS thoroughly look at the background on his foster parents? How often did they check on them?
Right.
Don't just drop the baby off and be like, okay, they're there.
Right.
Pull these kids on the outside like that one girl was molested. Do periodic checks on the foster homes. Pull the child to the side and talk to them. When you show them that you actually care, they'll talk. Why does she have to resort to social media?
Right.
Children do not have a voice.
But that's why I'm here, having a voice for them too.
Exactly. Because you also have cases that we would talk about on another discussion hour with children committing suicide because they feel like they don't have
And a lot of that comes from starting from home too.
Exactly. Well, I truly enjoyed you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. And I thank you for the Moscata because, girl, after this, we got your baby. I'll tell you because I know y'all see a box right here. I've been on the STEM unit for a while. My next, we did get ready to have surgery, so I've been dealing with that. But we'll be keeping you in prayer along with the family.
Yes, please do.
Especially your nephew and your niece. I hope the best. I hope we're going to be praying that God would touch this mother and wake her up and to do the right thing.
And hopefully now she gets a perspective and an understanding, even if she watches this broadcast. It's nothing
about her, though.
It's not about you.
It's about
them. And it's always been about them when it comes to us. If you look at sometimes,
well, you hurt me, you did this, you did that. It's not about you. It's about these children.
Right.
Those children should not be tied up in adult altercations.
Right.
Whatever going on between you and her, that's between you and her. That has nothing to do with these kids. Bottom line. But it comes to a day in time where CPS, somebody high up, whether it's district attorney, whether it's the court system, which is also corrupt. And I can say that because I've been through it. But somebody need a chance to stand for these children.
And clean out, accounted for their actions for this.
Clean out the family protective services. Say, okay, we see you've been doing pretty good. You good. We can stay. Okay, we see in your cases. Why was this thrown out? Why was this dismissed? Why was nothing done on this situation?
Right.
You got to go.
Right.
That's what needs to be done.
If you're hearing multiple cries of multiple people,
how many times does it take?
Multiple people. Why do y'all still keep sweeping it underneath the rug?
But how many times? Because I remember of Rayburn, I don't know if he was here then. I think the mother had a mental disorder as well. But they the doctor even warned them not to return their child because she was not stable. As soon as the judge granted the child to go back to the mother, the next day the child was dead. We need to do better.
Yeah.
We're not saying it's our fault that she had a mental disability. But we got to look at this 2 lives here. This baby did not get to see even kindergarten, not even pre-K. The child was in a safe place, and you put it back in danger.
And that's what we see every time and time again.
Yeah. Thank you, Candyman Ellison, for tuning in and telling your way. Andrea, I love you. Thank you. You've been such a great help. Keep posting those because this month is Poetic Month, but it's also Child Abuse Month. A lot of people doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So make sure that you remember these children that's lost their lives due to abuse, because these stories touch me very deeply. The one that has touched me the deepest was baby Brianna. That's why I dedicated this discussion to her. It is very hard to believe that the mother is out to this day. I don't feel like the grandmother should get off as easy, because if you do not report abuse,
you're just as bad as
it's just like you abuse a child yourself. And that's just the bottom line. So, we finna sit here, enjoy a little. My first time making jerk chicken because of you. And I was like, I never had jerk chicken, but I tried. I marinated yesterday, and when I bit it on a break, it's good. It's really good. So we finna eat a little fruits and crackers and continue our talk right now. I love y'all so much. Remember, there will not be a discussion hour next week. You will be seeing different things that's coming in here. I know the guys are mad at me because being that I couldn't walk and I've been bedridden. Move that there, move that here. I need this over there. You know where? Over here, Mama's bike. Yeah, right there. No, move it over there. So they're like the white chairs. I got my chair to help me with my back and knee and everything. I'm loving it because it actually feels good right now.
Yeah. And we need you because we need you. You are that platform for us to make awareness on many different situations. And we could just be planting little seeds today
Yes.
to help a better day for tomorrow.
Yeah, because just like today, if we did not have this segment, Andrea wouldn't have been able to get her word out.
Right.
She, wouldn't have been able to give the information that she posted. And make sure y'all go to those comments because those are some good links for you to check out. And if you can take it, please look up baby Brianna. Her name is Brianna Lopez. They also have, she actually would have been, I think, 12 years old today. And so, even to this day, it still affects me to where I am now. I'm like, I love kids. I don't like having them no more, but I love them.
Right.
But
as you can see, I didn't have them, but I still love them.
I love them.
I love them all.
They're innocent, and just like my grandbaby, my daughter knows. That's why I couldn't understand about the grandmother. My daughter knows I better not see one bruise on my child.
Right.
Those my grandkids. I don't care how they are. Don't put your hands on my grandbaby like that. But I give all love to y'all. Thank y'all for supporting us. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the week of the 21st. I think it is. And we're juggling the discussion, so I'm trying to see if I can get some guests to come in and discuss it. Which, I do want to do a discussion. There's two topics. I wanted to talk about the Kurt Franklin thing, but these men are scared to come in my studio and talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. I need a man's perspective. Hello.
Right.
It'd be good we can get Kurt Franklin in here.
He might make a phone call.
Yeah, because I feel like, there's some things that he can brought out. He's getting the wrong deal.
Yeah.
But also I want to talk about other subjects too. But just remember this is Child Abuse Month as well as Poetic Month. Keep children in bed. Just remember, if you see any child getting abused, if you see any marks or they said something that raises your concern, please call the number that you see scrolling by. You can remain anonymous, so don't think you got to reveal your name. And that number is 800-422-4453. And this here is in memory of baby Brianna. Y'all have a blessed week. I love it. This is so good.
You got a charger over there? Who's the charger? Charger.
It'll be over there. Yeah, I think it's an Android.
It's one of the newer.
I got one in my room.
It's not. It's fine.
I
I got one in the car.
It's big.
It's actually really good. It's the case that makes it. Shut up, real quick.